All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. Tonight we have the Area 51 Dark Horse IndyCar Series here at Michigan International Speedway. Drivers just now rolling out to put down their qualifying laps for their starting spots this evening. And first off, I got to give a big thank you to my partner in crime here tonight, and that is Mr. Andrew Wood, as well as Boomer Logan, who's not here tonight. So you've finally given him a break because I've been under the weather for a couple weeks, and they ran the show for us. And yeah, Andrew, first off, thank you, and Boomer, thank you guys so much, because I didn't know if we were going to be able to even have a broadcast the way I was feeling. So appreciate you guys stepping up and doing an amazing job as always. And like I said, I got to thank my most dedicated viewer. It looks like too. That's Mr. Muff Duff. So Jamie, as always, as well. Appreciate you, sir. Also, definitely appreciate your dedication to supporting this channel, though. However, Andrew, we are at Michigan, 100 laps here tonight, and I've been hearing the fuel number is gonna be right on the edge of someone maybe trying to do a full-on gamble and two-stop it, but likely it sounds like three-stopper if, of course, we go green to the end. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what the strategy is going to be for some of our front runners, and we kind of talked pre-race. Maybe it opened up some opportunities for those who are trying to save fuel. Maybe some guys that said, hey, you know what? I want to be at the front, just control this thing.
Yeah, first of all, Gael, it's great to have you back. Of course, Boomer and I held the show for you here for quite a bit, but it's good to have you back and back to the original sort of team we have going on here. But yeah, it looks like it could go either way. We could have a fuel save race, or we could have a race where guys just want to get to the front as fast as possible. Speaking from my own experience racing at this track here at Michigan Speedway, you get a point for leading a lap. So that's just some sort of incentive for some of these guys to get to the front, lead their lap, and then perhaps save the fuel afterwards. But if you do that, you're wasting the fuel that you need to save later on in the race. So I'm not really sure what we're in store for here tonight. It could go either way, really. We could have like a super fuel save race, or we could have the race where it gets a little bit wild at the start, where everyone's trying their best to get that extra point in the championship to lead the lap.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And of course, I mean, the thing is, we're talking based on it going caution free. Throw yellow in the mix, and then it's pretty much probably all out the window, unless a caution comes out right at that exact fuel window to kind of throw it right back into the potential again. So we'll see. The other thing I think we're going to be watching is the temperature. You see on the timing and scoring here, 119-degree track temperature, and it's only going to get warmer right now as it's 1:13 p.m. track time here at Michigan. So that could come into play as well. We'll have to see how these things handle. Obviously, what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of spread out racing through the turns. Everybody's going to try to file back in through the straightaways, get that big toe, and then again try to find some clean air for those on the front wings of these cars down the straightaways. So, or through the turns, I should say. And then, of course, going into the points, this will be race number 4 of 12. So we're just about hitting the quarter distance mark in it. And we're looking at this as well right now. Our points leader is Christopher. However, 3 second place finishes to start the season. You know he's going to want to break through and get a win here at Michigan. Bruno Miranda, our defending champion, only 14 points out of the lead. He does have a win. And then in third place, the other driver that's had 3 top 5s in his 3 starts, Craig Forsyth. So consistency definitely has played a big role, but yeah, I say, but again, you know, especially Craig and Chris, those guys are going to want to get that W in a column here soon.
Yeah, I think that as we see some of these guys out on track right now, they're trying their best to put the best foot forward here and get up towards the front. The farther up you start, the better chance you have of having a good position trying to hold off those guys that are behind you there. So qualifying's ending here shortly, so let's see how they all shake out.
Yeah, qualifying just has completed, so we're going to pull up our starting grid to kick things off. So we'll hide that window out of the way, and then we'll pull up our starting grid. And so on pole position, as we just talked about, our defending champion, Bruno Miranda, is going to take pole position there by just over half a tenth over Craig Forsyth. Great lap there by Bruno. Craig Forsyth, you see there in second. Third and fourth, I'll say these are going to be 2 to watch as well during the race here. That is Nick DeGroot in the 89, and then Eric Schaus in 4th.
It looks like we have Alan Moreira starting in P5. Another Marrera P6, Dan. He's had a bit of a bad fortune here the last few weeks, but it looks like he's qualified quite well. Christopher, unfortunately, he's in P7. Expect a little better out of him, but he's going to start P7, and Eric Peterson's going to go P8.
And then next you got the nerd Matt Wagner there in 9th position. Next to him, Taylor Reeves in 34 and finishing the top 10. And then 11th and 12th, you've got Gary Laverne right there. Next to him, Edson Santos in the 20 car will be in the 12th position.
You got Jari Brubacher starting 13th. Yari's back from quite a hiatus here in the Area 51 series, but he's mid-pack. He's going to probably try his best to find his way up front. And then you got Andrew McMurray in 14th. P15, you got Brad Adams, newcomer to the series. He's going to try and find his place. Hopefully he can try to pick up a few spots here with William Swenson in P16.
And then 17th, you got Rick Sanchez. I say he does a little bit of everything in this league. I say see him in the super speedways on Sundays and Thursdays. He's brought up these open wheel cars. Glad to see him over here as well. You got Michael Carrillo there in 18th in the number 29. And then you see the last two, or I should say, yeah, actually not quite the last two cars at set times, but you got Elmer Joseph there in the 66th and 19th. And then rounding out our top 20 will be Jim Herrick. And I expect to see Jim move his way forward here tonight.
Yeah, we got Adriano Fraporti, P21. That's not a great qualifying for him and his abilities. You can expect to see him making his way forward very fast, especially if the cars ahead of him are fuel saving. So expect Adriano to try and move forward as best he can. And then rounding out the back of the field, we have Bill Colley, P22, and Joseph DeCiro for the 23 car field tonight. Let's see if these guys towards the back actually take the grid, first of all. And second of all, if they can actually find a way to get towards the front. If they see that there's a fuel save situation going on, they're going to put themselves in the best situation going towards the front of the field later on in the first part of the stint.
Yeah, I was saying actually chiming in. I think so. I have to check, make sure to take his phone away from his car though. I say Jari Brubacher chiming in saying turn one cold tire is going to be interesting. So he's already looking ahead to it. And again, looking at the track temp, it is 81 degrees ambient, about 120 degrees track temp right now. And for me, I don't think I'm not too worried about 1 and 2. 3 and 4, I think is my bigger concern because you start to get all that speed built up. And then your tires are still cold. That thing's just going to plow. So you got to really be ready to kind of crank a little bit of extra wheel in, especially in dirty air. But I think if you're up front here, Craig Forsyth, Bruno Brando, you're probably very happy to have some clean air on the front wings of these cars.
Yeah, you have turn one. Not everyone's up to full speed yet, so the cold tires won't be so much of a thing. You're absolutely right, Gael. It's going to be turns 3 and 4. People may forget where the situation is, but pace car is about to pull in here, and we're going to get rolling soon.
Yeah, but you see the pace car has jumped off. Now it's in the hands of the flagman, waiting for that green flag to fly. That'll kick off our 100 laps here tonight. And there it is. We are down and away. 100 laps here at Michigan. Again, one faster pair, no green white checkers, as the field builds up speed here, heading into turn number 1 for the first time.
Yeah, some of the guys in the mid-pack definitely tried to jump that start. You saw that not really anybody at the front went on the green flag, but some of these guys in the mid-pack, as we mentioned during the starting grid formation there, they really want to try and see what kind of advantage they can get.
So this is kind of my first point I'm going to be watching is going to be turn 3. Again, we talked about the aero wash these things will get, plus the cold tires. You see a bunch of cars drifting
everybody's
up there.
pushing
up.
Got
Yes. Trouble.
Oh, no.
Huge wreck. I see one flipping up and over. I saw Nick DeGroot. Oh, another trot right there. Alan Marrera, big hit for him. Nick DeGroot I saw involved as well. And looks like, oh man, that car's still bouncing. I think that was Christopher. It was. And Rick Sanchez, Elmer Joseph. So huge wreck. And unfortunately, that was my concern was turn 3 and 4. And I think just everybody got tight. So this is going to be a good news, bad news for some guys. The good news, you have a fast pair. The bad news is a lot of these guys are going to need it right off the bat. You see the Christopher, that car is going to need a faster pair because it's not even turning. Nick DeGroot's going to try to limp this thing back to pit road. Jim Herrick's in the same boat there in the 40. It looks like 2 drivers already had to take a tow, Alan Marrera and Rick Sanchez. So let's go back. Let's take a look because it was kind of what we were worried about.
Yeah, Craig Forsyth actually admitted over radio that he felt like he was the one who kind of caused it. So let's see what happens here.
So we're going to focus over on Craig, get a better angle. We'll back it down here. We'll get a better angle here as we look down through 3 and 4. And you see Craig, he's to the inside of Eric Schaus, but then, like you said, here comes the drift, and he's coming right to the outside. There is, the little bit of a checkup. Oh, yeah, I think there was a checkup there. I believe that's Alan Morera, if I'm not mistaken. And there's just nowhere for anybody to go. I mean, you see even Matt Wagner kind of drives through a couple cars here. I'm watching I think some of the avoidances of the race right here. Eric Peterson somehow gets through there, and then I believe that was Gary Laverne goes through the grass, but I think he gets through as well.
Yeah, quite a few cars in the grass there.
Yeah, there was some serious off-roading being done, but overall some good avoidance. But yeah, a lot of cars involved. Unfortunately, here's Yari doing a little bit of off-roading as well. So man, yeah, that's a lot of cars. This is gonna be one of those things where probably about half the field will jump back live here. Probably about half the field most likely having to take a fast repair to get back into the thick of this thing.
It's one of those things where you feel like a lot of those top contenders that we were talking about at the start of the race have now put themselves in a spot where they don't have any more mulligans. So yeah, all these guys are going to get back out on track, not lose a lap or anything like that. But it seems that some of these guys are now in a spot where they have to be extra careful because that mulligan's not there anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And the other thing is also, we just remember we're talking about the fuel mileage probably being just outside the window. It was a mixed bag here on who pitted, who did not pit. So you see Bruno Miranda, he stayed out along all the way back to Bill Cawley staying out as well. However, Jari Brupacher, the first one to pit there under that yellow. So it's not a lot, but it's probably at least a lap and a half of fuel. I'm curious to see if he or anybody else tops off, even maybe get that little tiny extra bit. Again, we don't know how the race is going to unfold, but it definitely opens up some potential here. Maybe somebody tries to do that two-stopper. It looks like Matt Wagner is going to top off here in the 5 car, so we'll keep an eye on him. And then, yeah, I think Craig did have some damage, though, because he had about almost a minute in pit road, so I think he opted to go ahead and get that damage fixed manually, or maybe went to go check the replay and see what exactly happened, which is always a possibility. So we'll see, though, but lights are back off of the pace car. And to me, Andrew, this opens up a whole new concern, which is single file restarts. It's so easy to accordion up on these restarts. Double file, I feel like it's just, for me, I feel better with it. So you can see a little bit more. And at this track, though, it's just such a long front stretch. I don't know. I always get nervous at these ones.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems that the single file restarts have always been an Achilles heel for some of the guys in this league. You know, we saw that at Pocono at the start of the season, but it did improve as the season started to unfold a little bit. So hopefully these guys have a little bit more awareness of where they are, close up the gaps necessarily. It seems that some of these guys in the bottom end of the top 10 are still kind of holding back a little bit, but hopefully doing their best to take care of each other on track. And I'm sure even if you lose a little bit, they'll all close up eventually.
Yeah, so you got that magic draft window, usually about 1.5 seconds. As here we go, Bruno Miranda going to grab through the gears once more. And so far, so good. Scrolling back, see a little stack up. You see Yari go ahead and drop it to the bottom to be safe. You see Nick DeGroot doing the same. Oh, as I say that, Chris Stouffer. Oh, big hit for Chris. That's going to be night over for Chris on lap number 5 here. And he's already taken a toe back, and we do stay under green. I'm going to go one more time to see what happened to him. But that's going to be it for Chris, unfortunately. I would take another look at this replay here, watching Chris here. He's in that 13 car, and I'm not sure if it was contact or did he jump low to avoid. Oh, yeah, he was going to get into the O. Man, that's an odd one. It just broke traction with that sharp left.
I almost feel like, the cars ahead of him didn't seem to get going as fast as Chris was hoping. So, yeah, it's definitely one of those things where he was expecting the cars ahead of him to just move, but maybe there was some map 8 fuel save situations going on there. So very, very unlucky for Chris Stouffer there. Yeah,
that's tough. And I'm gonna put blame on myself there, talking about the three runner-up finishes to start the season. Unfortunately, he's gonna finish 23rd here tonight. I believe already has retired from the event. So Chris, I apologize, man, for so you're gonna want Boomer back in the booth here. I'll let him know to get me back out. But yeah, it's a tough one for him to take in. And that's actually a really good point though you made, Andrew, is the map 8. So I know a lot of the viewers here are familiar. For those that aren't familiar, however, basically there's 5 race maps in these cars for ovals, 1 for full rich, 5 for full lean in race conditions. 6 and 7's kind of got more of like an S curve for like road courses. That way it's not just a fully linear throttle map. And then map 8, you save a ton of fuel, but you also are going to be really slow because that's the caution fuel map. And I've been burned before too, where I leave it on map number 8 and never turn it back to 1. And I'm like, why am I so slow? And by the time you get switched back, you're in a bad spot. So definitely could have been what happened in front of Chris. And like I said, he made that sharp left to try to avoid the contact. But I think just the cold tires and that quick left kind of crank of the wheel just unfortunately ended his night.
Yeah, this is one of those things where you're in map 8 trying to save the fuel on the caution, especially now that it may have been a fuel save race. It's easy to forget. You wouldn't be an IndyCar driver at all if you didn't actually put yourself in a spot where you left yourself in map 8 and then you put yourself at the risk of everyone going a little wild. Watching Michael Carrillo, he just hit the wall in turn 2. Back there in the middle of the bottom part of the top 10, and he got swarmed and passed by a bunch of people here.
Yeah, so now the question is, was it just enough of a tap to just slow him down for momentum, or is that car going to get really tight? Because when you, I saw right behind him, I think that was that Bill? I think it was Bill Colley got really tight, but able to hang on to it, looked like. But yeah, there's some close calls going on here. As Nick DeGroot there, he just put the fastest lap of the race because again, he's got to get some track position back because he was involved in that first wreck there. And then also there's a bit of a gap here. You see Brad Adams in the 76 car. Jari Brupacher, he's about 1.7 seconds out, and for me, I feel like the magic number is always about 1.5 or so to be able to get that draft to that car in front. So I feel like Jari right now is not in the best spot. It is about 1.4 now. So I'm watching lap times, and last time by he was only half a tenth quicker than Brad. Actually, I'm sorry, there's identical times this last time by 32.75s for the two of them. But what he does have coming up though here is going to be possibly some help from Craig Forsyth going ahead and try to see if they can maybe do that tandem draft and pull back forward. And we got some blaming, and surprisingly though, they're not blaming me here, Andrew. They're blaming you for Stouffer's DNF, and that would be from an Austin Espity.
Yes, unfortunately, I had rooted Chris Stouffer on for the longest time, so I think one of these things where you feel like the guy has good momentum, and of course we're all due a bad race whenever we say that we're we're rooting the guy on. So it's not surprising that a commentator's curse has hit me, but we still have a lot of racing left to go here, and some of these guys really want to try and take advantage of the lead that Chris Stouffer has in the championship. So let's see how it pans out from here.
Yeah, no, it definitely will be interesting. And saying the thing is, right now the beneficiary so far is our race leader, Bruno Miranda, and actually looks like the 5 Rick Sanchez. Oh, he's off track and heading to pit road. Car looks okay. He had a toe in that first incident. Looks like he may be calling it an early evening as well, unfortunately. But yeah, right now Bruno's definitely making the most of the bad luck for Chris. So we'll keep an eye on that. And the one thing I'm going to be watching Jari closely here, Andrew, because he's in no hurry to get to the front, and I think that's fuel.
I have to say that I don't think anybody's fuel saving right now because the really is kind of starting to pull away. If we had a fuel save situation, you definitely see the pack stacking up a lot more than the top 8. So maybe some of the guys in the back are doing a bit of a fuel save, but these guys at the front are moving. They're doing what do we got here? We got high 32s, low 33s. These are lap times that are indicative of people trying to really push it. No one's really trying to do any sort of fuel save unless you're in a pack of, say, 4+ cars.
Yeah, the reason why I'm going to keep watching Jari because he's just playing it safe, but I feel like, you've seen Craig Forsyth there. As I say that, there goes Craig. He's going to try to get another spot here. But I feel like Yari's been staying just a couple car lengths off. Hasn't been trying to challenge further forward or anything like that. I know it's been a little while since Yari's been racing, but I don't think he's got that much rust to shake off as talented as he is. So I really think Yari's working a field number here. And then the other car to mention is 2 cars behind him. That's going to be Matt Wagner. He did top off on that one to go. But again, though, that means he starts at the very, very back, so you have to burn more fuel to kind of get further up the running order. So there's kind of that ebb and flow, if you will. And so right now, for those that pitted, the furthest up is Craig Forsyth, who is in a gaggle of cars right now. He's got Andrew McMurray behind him, Eric Peterson right in front. He's kind of got that yellow sandwich right now in between them. So he's working to see what he can make happen right now. But Craig definitely not just riding right now. Looks like he wants to get that track position back.
You know, as soon as I said that nobody's saving fuel, suddenly the 4 or 5 cars behind the top 8 just suddenly closed up. So looks like they're getting the draft now, and we may have a fuel safe situation going on for the bottom part of the top 10 here.
Yeah, I always watch Craig. Craig's usually my Mr. Fuel Save guy. I always kind of eyeball him to see what the fuel strategy will be. I mean, I've talked to him in races like at Dover where really tough to pass, and he would tell me I was map 1 on the straightaways, map 5 in the turns. Like, he would literally be changing every turn his fuel map to try to make a number. So, I mean, and you see right there, just not enough aero there to get underneath Eric Peterson. That costs him momentum. That's going to now allow Andrew Murray to take a look. But right now, the top line seems to be kind of the place to be. Look at Craig. He gets a huge run, but can't quite get around Peterson's outside there. So he's going to stay in line again. And again, I'm on the Yari fuel save train because he's let Nick DeGroot by, he's let Matt Wagner by, as well as Brad Adams. And look, he's even running the low lane now, trying to, I think, A, shortening the track, but B, maybe running a little shorter distance to save some fuel.
It actually looks like Craig got a little duped on the center line there. He started to push up the track a little bit, which left him vulnerable in the back straightaway. I believe that was McMurray that got by him in the back straightaway. Like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, these guys that run in the middle of the pack have an opportunity to show themselves towards the front here. So these guys are going to try and also save fuel, but they're going to really want to try and get to the front to show their name in this series.
Yeah, and that's going to be the question, too, is you talk about the fuel window, and we were talking about maybe low 30s or so. With that caution, I mean, that might bump it up to, like, let's say 34, maybe. Again, we're thinking how close can they make it on the two-stopper or not. So right now, obviously, the one burning the most fuel is our leader here, Bruno Miranda, so we'll keep an eye on him, obviously. Then I got to talk about the second and third place right now. We got Taylor Reeves running second place. He is plus 8 positions from where he started. So great opening stint for him, as well as Edson Santos here, plus 9 for him in the 20. And then you got Eric Schaus there rounding out the 4th spot, and Dan Morera rounding out our top 5. So Eric right where he started in 4th, Dan only up 1 spot. But yeah, so big gains though for Taylor and Edson here early on. And I say, but the gaggle, I'll say the party's right here. Like I said, right around the top 10 or so. That's where everybody seems to be dicing it up. And I got to give a shout out to Boomer. Say he's claiming the best broadcast in sports, and I would agree if you were the one running the show. I think I kind of weigh us down a little bit, Boomer. But like I said earlier, man, again, just huge thanks for stepping up and covering for me. It definitely was greatly appreciated. And yeah, letting me get better and be able to do this some more. So hope you're enjoying your night off. Well deserved.
Yeah, if you want to check out Matt Wagner, wants to get to the front. He is running the optimal line runs, turn 1 and 2 now. He's not playing this fuel save, half fuel save game, anything that's going on. So I imagine that Matt is looking for the front. He wants to get up there. He does not want to play around in this midfield battle where everybody's riding the wall. And he's going to try and get there as fast as he possibly can.
Yeah, it definitely has that. And you're right, though. The top is definitely where people want to be. And I feel like, is that a momentum thing? Is that just basically you want to be at the top through? Actually, I'd say that you see Craig able to get around Eric Peterson. Is that just where you want to be? Is the middle to the top? Ooh, a little stack up behind that's got Matt Wagner opportunity here. See, maybe do a 2 for 1 even. I mean, what's your thought between which lane you want to run? I know the very bottom lane, the very bottom seam, a little less banking, so it's a little harder to kind of get that car to rotate. But what about kind of, you can see the 4 distinct grooves here, or actually 5 in this case. I mean, why do you think these guys are all going up to the top right now? Is it just the track temp, or what are we looking at?
Yeah, it's you almost have to kind of take each side of the track as a whole different beast. So if everybody is stacking up on the top, you're not going to make any ground there. And in fact, you might lose ground to people that want to get to the front, like Matt. Once you see the stack up happening and you know you can pick up at least 3 or 4 cars on each side of the track, you want to go for it. Because you can save a ton of fuel entering turn 3 or turn 1 along with what everyone else is doing, but you also risk potentially it's stacking up a little faster. I think it's a little safer to run your own line, kind of how Matt's doing right now. He may try and gain a few spots on the entry to the corner, may lose a few on exit, but eventually it's good. As the laps wear on, the people on the top are going to be stacked up so much that you won't be able to stay up there without losing a few spots to the guys that want to get to the front.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So like I said, we're probably about 5 to 8, I'd say, laps away from our first scheduled pit stops again. The one I'm going to be watching is going to be Bruno. He will likely be the first one in. What I'm seeing right now is we got a bit of a breakaway here. You see Bruno, he's got a bit of a gap over Taylor and then over Edson, about 2 tenths each. But then they've got about half a second on Eric Schau. So I feel like there's a... Oh, Craig may have just missed the wall.
Let's go back to Matt Wagner again. So same sort of thing I was mentioning before. You want to take the low line. Once those guys on the top start to stack up, the gaps on the top line will open up. So if you want to try and get your way to the front, not just by running the bottom every time, you want to try and see those stack ups so that on the exit of turn 4, the room is there for you to slide up and get there. So Matt's doing an awesome job right now, getting his way from P13 or 14 where he was, and now he's suddenly finding himself in the top 7. Now he could run the top if he wants, just along with everyone else, just pick up those few spots there.
Yeah, so Andrew McMurray actually did a nice job there. He got to his inside and then was able to slide back up in front of Matt to grab that 6th spot. So, and then right as we said that, I think Eric saw what was happening, and like I said, if he's on fuel save, I think he probably turned it up a wick. And I'm watching Bruno now. He's kind of changing his line a little bit. He's starting to drive a little lower here. Again, he's got all the clean air in the world, so he kind of has the ability to move where he wants to. And actually, as I say that, Craig Forsyth, he's going to short pit here. He's on pit road now, and I think he's missing part of his front wing here. So we missed something on Craig, and that's definitely why he is on pit road here. But yeah, that left front end plate is gone.
I'm catching up right now. I really don't know when that happened. Actually, it might have been that quick little moment where I saw with Matt Wagner. I'm gonna rewind a bit so I can find it.
Yeah, if you see it, let me know. We can see if we can check it out. But so this basically forces Craig into that 3 pit stop strategy. We know that for sure now. What Craig needs is he needs this to cycle through green. He doesn't need a yellow here because that'll trap him a lap down. So he wants to see everybody make a pit stop cycle cleanly. And then also the thing for Craig too is he needs to have a clean pit exit. It's very easy to lose traction here on this apron. Say it's dirty, it's flat, it's a challenge.
It's end of lap 26 going on to lap 27. We had him trying to fit into the top line as Dan Morera was coming up. There was a little bit of contact and that wing went goodbye.
Yeah, so he made a quick decision there. And Michael Correa now, he's actually jumping in too. We saw Michael just have a little contact with the wall earlier in the race, and so it looks like he's gone ahead and jumped in. And saying this is right in the window of a scheduled stop here for some. Like I said, I still think it's a little early for a few, but really the ones we're going to be watching, like I said, I think Dan Morera is going to be the big question mark because he's been leading, so there's no fuel save there. He's map 1, he's foot to the floor, doing everything he can. So yeah, like I said, the ones to watch to me, I'm curious to see where Matt Wagner ends up. Like I said, he topped off, but he's been burning fuel trying to get back to the front as he cannot quite clear Edson Santos, has to roll back in line there. But like I said, I think the fuel saver right now is going to be, I think Yari's going to be the one to go the furthest in this stance here.
Yeah, I'm watching Michael Carrillo. He just pit, right? When these guys pit in the pack, they come out right with the pack. So you're on full fuel, fresh tires, when you come out with the pack here. And what this does is it allows you on fresher tires to make your way towards the front of the pack in draft. So it actually is beneficial for you to pit a little earlier on these cycles because you're going to come out right at the back of the pack. You're going to have much faster lap times on fresher tires, and that allows you to jump a lot of guys that are going to pit later on.
I think I see Eric Schau's peaking pretty low here. Nope, he's not pitting. I thought the way his car's position looked like he was going to pit. And no, you're exactly right. I've been burned there by Nick DeGroot. That's a big shocker there where he short pitted. It was a gamble, but he short pitted, got into the draft, and then yeah, he just used his fresh tires to get right back to the front of the field. pretty much unlap himself, and then by the time everybody else cycled, they were long gone behind him because he was able to make all that lap time in traffic. So it was a really, really good job by Nick in that strategy. And so far, no takers yet. But like I said, I think these guys are running to a number, because at this point we're on lap 35. We were talking about, again, 33, 34. So realistically, if these guys can go another lap or two, I think that puts them in the window to still one-stop it to the end, even with, let's say, a 32, 33 lap window. So that caution, that timing, I mean, it was an early caution, but that may have actually opened up the fuel strategy to actually not have a real fuel strategy.
Yeah, you mentioned Nick Gruda. I imagine he's going to be one of the first people to pit here. So let's see if he pits soon.
Yeah, here's
I see Bruno's coming in.
So that makes sense. Okay, so Bruno pitted at coming to 35. So, and that's with a couple caution laps. So realistically, probably about, what, 33 we would say. So he's the first of our leaders here to pit. Matt Wagner takes the point now. Again, Matt did top off on that one to go, so he should have a little bit left in the tank, pending how aggressive he's been driving with that fuel map here.
Yeah, I bet I'm really scared of the mass group of people that decide to come in, because that always disrupts the order. I don't see who the next car is. I saw Bill Colley Bill Colley said he was gonna pit, but I think I see it at the back of the field. Yeah, Bill Colley's coming in. Jim Herrick's coming in.
Yeah, and they're towards the back.
In.
Yeah. So yeah,
but this leaves a lot of cars that are likely going to pit on the same lap, which can always brings its level of drama here. So we'll see what happens in the next couple laps.
Yeah, this is exactly this is where you get nervous. So we'll kind of keep an eye on these guys.
Taylor Reeves is definitely hanging low, like he's going to come in. Yeah, I guess Taylor Reeves is coming in. He might be also the only taker.
That was a good entry.
I do believe Matt Wagner's coming at the time. He chimed up on radio there, so let's see if Matt Wagner brings in a whole host of people.
Yeah, and I think at this point, these guys for sure, I want to say these guys are good to go on a one-stopper after this pit stop. So, yeah, I think now this is going to be interesting. So I'm watching the one of Bruno Miranda. He is just outside the draft pack right now. He's a little bit off the 66. Yeah, here comes Matt Wagner. He's going to dive in and looks like solo. So that's interesting. That tells you how hard Matt was driving, because he's had to pit before Edson Santos, Eric Schaus, Dan Morera, Eric Peterson, and they haven't pitted yet in this race. So that's just the pace that these guys have had, or I should say the fuel save they've been able to do compared to Matt.
Yeah, Taylor Reeves has come out right in the pack, just kind of what I was mentioning before, so he's going to have some good draft. You're right, Bruno Miranda's just outside, but Taylor Reeves actually beat him out. So I'm not sure what Bruno Miranda, if he had a rough pit stop there or anything like that, but everyone else ahead of him was coming in, which is vulnerable to no draft.
So yeah, here's the group. Brad Adams, Elmer Joseph, they're all in. So that leaves about 8 drivers yet to pit, which will be Edson Santos, Schaus, Peterson, Morera, McMurray, Brubacher, Adriano Fraporti, and Gary Laverne. So, and I see, look at Edson, he's already holding bottom. I already see Peterson holding the bottom. I think these guys are coming in right now.
Yeah, Matt's beat Taylor Reeves out by a mile, so Matt's the best. Oh, we got a car on the wall in turn 4. It looks like that was McMurray. A little bit high there, no yellow, so that's all good. But yeah, Matt Wagner managed to make it out ahead of Bruno Miranda, so he is well ahead on the strategy. He's going to be the lead car for the rest of the cars that didn't pit. He's going to get the draft right here on Dan Morera and Eric Schaus.
Yeah, that's huge.
Let's see what happens.
I say the thing is, I don't think he's going to beat the 1.5 seconds over Taylor Reeves. But yeah, let's watch Schaus here. And look at the fuel mileage for Eric Schaus. He's still going. Here comes Dan Morera. He's going to hit pit road. Here comes Yari Brubacher, Andrew McMurray. They're all in. So Schaus is the fuel whisperer in this one. He is going to stretch it over.
Did he top off on the end of that
first
caution?
Schaus has yet to pit this race, so he is just killing it on fuel right now.
Yeah, he must have been in that spot in that 5th or 6th car back in the pack for much of it, and you don't realize how being farther back in the pack saves you so much more fuel. So I imagine he's got to be pitting soon here.
Yep. So here comes Schaus. That's going to complete the green flag pit stop cycle. So that's a great job by all these drivers. Like I said, that's what a handful of these guys really wanted and really needed. So what this will do is once it cycles, it should hand it over to Matt Wagner. But here's the dilemma. Matt's got a 1.5 3-second lead over Nick DeGroot. That's not enough to break the draft, so Nick's going to start to charge right back in on him. So Matt can enjoy it while he has it, but you're going to see the 89, the 34. He's basically going to bring the top 7 back to him, and then probably not too long later, a handful more. So first we'll watch Schaus. He's rolling out now. Oh, but this is the concern for Eric going so long. Look how far back he's going to cycle because he's just getting on the access road as they're already passing him.
So one comment about Matt is that now we're in a position where he is the leader. He has no help, no one around him. Nick's going to take quite a few laps to get up to him, so he can't save any fuel. So that 32 or 33 lap situation that we're talking about before, that's more like a 29-30 now. So, I mean, you'd have to pit like around lap 40 or so to be full burn from here. So Matt's in trouble, and anybody that has pit now that is way out ahead is in trouble because they can't save any fuel at all without risking everybody from the second, third, fourth back catching up and potentially passing them.
Yeah, that's what I see. Here goes DeGroot. He's going to take the point now going into turn 3. And so I'm looking at the pit lap. So Matt pitted at 38, DeGroot 39, Taylor Reeves the earliest at 37. Well, not the earliest. Bruno Miranda's the earliest at 35. So I kind of expect to see Bruno probably just ride, honestly, here for a little bit.
You see that going into turn 1. He had a huge run on what was that, Edson Santos up ahead of him there.
He just rolled out of it.
And he just completely rolled out of it. So I think Bruno knows his situation. He has to at least save a little bit of fuel to at least be in the running later on. But again, if Bruno is the first person to pit, he puts himself in a situation for the last stint that he has to do a certain amount of laps, or else he'll run out of fuel on the last lap.
Yeah, so now he's got to run a fuel number here, and you're exactly right. He's kind of just cruising right now behind Edson. They're being smart about it, saying again, there's a reason why Bruno won the championship last season. It wasn't due to bad strategies. So not too worried about Bruno here. I think he's going to be all right. And also, Eric Schaus, he's not
yellow.
Quite, oh, caution out. Yeah, Michael Carrillo looks like is the caution. And that is going to change the strategy. Yep, that car is not facing the right direction. And it looks like waiting for the field to clear. And then he should be able to loop it after one more car here. So we'll wait and see. Oh, no, he took a quick tow, actually. So let's see what happened to Michael here, because it looks like... Oh, that's... What is going on there? That's a big slide. Wow. Watch this slide here out of turn number 2.
I see some dirty air remnants going on here.
Yeah, dirty air off of Eric, it looks like. So he's going to drift. Just kiss the wall. But then watch how this thing just does this 4-wheel slide for so far down the backstretch. And tries to catch it, and unfortunately, I think once it grabs, it just looks like it's on ice the way it's sliding.
There's
there.
A bump right there. And he just hit the bump.
I knew there
was a bump right in the middle of the back straightaway. So, that's kind of a weird incident to me, Gael, because he was only behind one car, and we've seen the whole field's been stuck behind, 2x2 and everything. So I'm not really sure if he had the wrong tools going on there, but something was very wrong there in terms of how that wreck all transpired, even the saving of it. It's almost kind of like he was like, well, I've hit the wall now, it's all over. So not really sure what happened there, but it seems like he's going to tow and take a fast repair.
I think for him also, I want to say he was a little bit off sequence. I want to say he pitted earlier than the other guys, so his tires were probably actually a little bit worse position. So that could have played a role as well. But what this does do, though, is it brings caution out, and you can see it looks like Nick DeGroot going to win the race off pit road.
Yeah, we got a couple of people that missed their pit boxes. I was just scanning up and down pit lane.
I think Alan actually was one.
Yep. Yari Brupacher missed his pit box. I believe Alan Murray missed his. These guys are just under so much pressure to get out of the pits as fast as they can. They try and stop, and next thing you know, you've missed your guys, and you have to reset in your pit box. So,
and we got
unfortunate for those guys.
Strategy call here as well. Jim Herrick stays out, which again, I think Jim still should be in the one-stop window no matter what. Basically, everybody that pitted, they can go one more stop to the end. They're no question for those guys. I think Jim probably can too. I said I'm trying to keep an eye on the YouTube chat because we got some peanut gallery going on. Ribbon Matt Wagner saying that he needs to bring his Indy car over to the Super Speedway series over on Sunday and Thursday nights. But Gabe, Hondo, Boomer, and company. Always love you guys hopping in here and appreciate you guys supporting the open wheel series as well. But yeah, this is gonna be intriguing here on the strategy because it looks like Jim is gonna stay out. And the other thing I gotta mention, I haven't been able to pull up one of the 4D Racer commercials yet. However, reminder, 4D Racer, they are supporting this league, sponsor of the league, and they will be giving away a pair of gloves to an each 3 series. And this time it's not going to be the season champion. We're going to have a raffle for drivers that run 10 or more of the 12 races through the season. So if you can make 10 of the 12 races, you will be entered in the raffle at the end of the season to win a pair of gloves courtesy of this lovely man right here, Jim Herrick and 4D Racewear. So Jim, as always, appreciate you, sir, everything you do for the league. Gabe Butler actually won a pair of the boots from winning the championship over in the Super Speedway side, so he can attest to how those feel. And when I ran my 24-hour race, I feel like I probably could have used some shoes, 'cause I'm more of a barefoot racer, and it was not comfortable. All right, so what are we thinking here, Andrew? We're going to restart at lap 50, pretty much right on the window for halfway. So, I mean, do you split this evenly, 25-25? Do you short pit as soon as you're in your window? There's no green white checkered, so there can be some strategy here.
Yeah, if I'm on track right now, I have absolutely no idea what my strategy is. I'm just going to try and get to the front and see what sort of behavior the guys around me do, because some people are going to be wild, some people are going to want to fuel save. I want to put myself in the best spot if it turns into a fuel race. That's the case.
So we'll see here. It's going to be Jim Herrick here leading the field back to green. We'll flip it over to our starter cam. Remember, Jim Herrick now has control of this restart, so he can go whenever he wants, and he is already down and away. We're watching back through the field, and it looks
We're all good back here.
Yeah, good start. Everybody's, again, minding their P's and Q's. As we get back to green here, Jim Herrick leading the way back into turn number 1. We'll see Nick DeGroot, though. He's already peeking to that inside, looking for the top spot.
Yeah, it looks like Edson Santos was the only one who kind of struggled on the start a little bit. Maybe he wanted to take it a little careful based on previous experience, but before long, he and Eric Schaus both are going to bring the whole field back up to the front.
Yeah, we talked about Nick DeGroot taking the lead. Now Matt Wagner to the point here, trying to bring Taylor Reeves along with him. Taylor's going to kind of get a crossover, it looks like, by Jim. And at the line, though, I think Nick DeGroot leads that halfway lap there. And again, Matt's going to want to lead a lap. Well, actually, no, Matt led a lap. I'm sorry. So I'd say you want to
Matt's like quite a few, yeah.
Yeah, you want to get those. You want to get those bonus points. Of course, those are always all important. The car that I'm waiting to see come back up again, he was involved earlier in some incidents, but that's going to be Craig Forsyth. I feel like Craig's going to be in the mix here at some point. However, right now he's a fair ways back here in 14th, so I'm not counting him out yet, but not where we're used to seeing Craig. Used to seeing him right around this like top 5 or so spot.
Yeah, I mean, Craig had that broken front wing, so that caution was a godsend to him because he was mired outside the draft, outside the pack. So this was a free pass for Craig to get his way back to the front again. But I would have to imagine that Craig is so far back right now, P14, that he wants to save the fuel. He's not going to try and rush to the front. He wants to be on the fuel save and open up his options and strategy for later on in the race, should it be a certain way. Because like I mentioned a couple laps ago, this whole field's going to pack right back up again. And he'll have plenty of opportunity to get back to the front if he needs to.
Yeah, it's definitely getting racy while Nick, Matt, and Taylor go 3 wide there for the lead down the back. Nick once again takes it right back from him. But watch the momentum shift. We'll watch again here off the back of Nick DeGroot. Actually, Matt can't get to the outside because Taylor gets the draft here. But now Taylor's pinned. He can't go anywhere. Nope, he's going to find the spot. He's going to go to the top side. Nick's going to go get put middle here of 3. These guys are racing for the front here. Matt's going to take the lead out of 4. Can he hold it to the line? Looks like yes, but then here comes Nick one more time.
Yeah, and I'm watching Bruno Miranda back here in P8, and he's trying to find a way, but he's completely boxed in. He has not found the right opportunity to get by any of these guys back here. So if I were him, I'd just sit back and say, hey, I'll save some fuel for a little bit. Once these guys kind of straighten themselves out, I will pounce. And right now he's trying to find his way on the inside again. He cannot get there.
Yeah, just I say he gets to the bottom and someone else is in the line. He gets that dirty air that's going to wash the car up, and that's the thing is Bruno's had the benefit of clean air for this first half of the race. So yeah, so he's having to now probably make some adjustments in the car, maybe adjust the weight jack or the ARBs, just try to find something that makes it feel a little bit better in dirty air. So again, and this might be one of those drivers that say, hey, I pitted. I know I need a little less fuel than some of these other guys, like a Jim Herrick who didn't pit. He's on about 11 less laps of fuel than the other guys that pitted. So we know for sure for Jim, he's going to have to pit earlier for fuel, but then also is going to have to put more fuel in. So I kind of like the idea again. If you're having to wait for fuel, I like the idea of short pitting. Get in, get your fuel, and then try to work your way back through the field. Maybe split this run in half or something like that. Maybe pit around 25 to go, somewhere in that window. So it's going to be interesting.
I saw Gary Lover and Andrew McMurray almost had contact off turn 2. I thought that was going to end in tears, but both cars managed to continue on.
Yeah, saying with that little hiccup too, I think that's allowed Bruno to gain a few more spots. He's worked his way right outside the top 5, trying to work on Eric Schaus there. He's going to slot back in line right in front of Jim Herrick, but now moves up into 6th. So he's had a really nice recovery drive from that pit road miscue, trying to get some of that track position back.
I'm going to shout out Adriano for 42 P8 right now. He started P21 tonight. I knew he was going to make his way to the front. He's an aggressive kind of guy, but he knows what it takes to drive around here. He's a big IndyCar. He's going to try and show his face here. So imagine that he's going to try to get to the front.
Oh, caution out. Trying to see where. Oh, looks like the 16 Andrew McMurray involved. Yeah, and that car is a little worse for wear this time. So that is going to bring our caution back out here. Our third yellow of the night. He's going to try to limp this thing back to pit road. But let's go find what happened to Andrew, because it looks like
he had another run-in with Gary Lovern.
So those two they can't get away from each other, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't such a run-in necessarily that there was contact between the two, but he was really trying his best to get by Gary.
Yeah, I'll take a look. Here's our caution coming out of 3 and 4. Gets to the outside and just a little bit of aero wash and probably just a little bit of Gary in the way. Probably in his mind, it looked like obviously we didn't see the full story going through 3 and 4, and then this is gonna hurt right there. Huge shot to the inside wall there. That's where you almost wish you were able to slide through the pits, but unfortunately he takes a really big shot there, and you can see a couple guys sneaking on by there. Watching right there, you saw I think it was Joseph Desiro taking no chances getting as high as he. Actually, that was Bill Cawley taking no chances to get away from that. So we are back under yellow. We will, saying he's still trying to make that thing to pit road here. He hasn't given up, but it's not going super well. I think he's going to get trapped a lap down here with it. All right, what do you do here, Andrew? You last pit on 47, so we only went about 15 laps or so. We're not in the window to make it to the end, but it does shorten the fuel stop. Do you pit? Yep. If you do, tires, fuel, both. What are we doing?
Expect everyone to come in here. You want those fresh tires. I know there's a tire limit in this series, but if anyone's been holding out for the last couple of stints here, they're going to take the tires now for sure. At this point, the pack is just so stacked up that you don't want to lose any track position if you can. So you may have a couple guys at the back stay out, but most of the guys up front all probably have an agreement that they want fresh tires.
Yeah, so you see Bruno got nicely into his box this time by here comes out of the rush out of pit road. And it looks like it will be Nick DeGroot winning the race off pit road. However, we got a few more gamblers. Jim Herrick said, you know what? I did it once. I'm doing it again. He stays out one more time. Dan Moreira is going to stay out with him, one of his 4D Raceware teammates, as well as Bill Cawley, who we just mentioned, did a nice job avoiding that incident there. So I was bragging on 4D Raceware a minute ago. Let's go ahead and take advantage. Let's pull up one of those commercials here. We will be right back here on the One to Go, so stay tuned.
40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, I swear we didn't plan it, but we had a 4D Racewear commercial, followed up by switching to our 4D Racewear livery paint scheme for Mr. Jim Herrick, our current leader. And then look right behind him. Hey, look, it's another 4D Racewear paint scheme with Dan Morera. So, like I said, to find out, hopefully get some top 3 interviews. We'll find out what kind of 4D Racewear equipment they use. Do they use the gloves? Do they use the boots? Do they do a combo? They have multiple types of gloves, which is really cool. Like the full forearm length ones for like go-karting type style looking ones, and then they have just like the hand gloves that like go to about your wrist. So, like I said, I gotta look at investing. And Boomer was really appreciative of you, Boomer. Also mentioning that there is a discount code, 15% off with the code Area5115. So if you want to support the league, get a little bit of, or support the company, I should say, get a little bit of a discount, you can always use that code as well.
So we're getting ready to go back to green here. No fuel save right now. You cannot do 39 laps whatsoever.
There's no way.
I think we're gonna see some wild stuff on this restart. We're gonna see guys that are gonna give everything that they've been hiding this whole race. So let's see what happens.
So we're gonna hop on the rear wing here of Dan Morera. I apologize. Let's go, Jim Herrick. There he goes. As I switched them, they get going. We're back to green, looking out the back.
Clean out the back.
Looking good. So good job, everybody there on the start. I look for Jim Herrick to be a gambler. I think he's going to be the one that's going to short pit as soon as he's in his window and see if he can make something happen. And like I said, and you mentioned if you can have a friend that does it with you, well, hey, he's got a teammate.
Got contact with Eric Schaus, Taylor Reeves exiting turn 1 and 2. Taylor pinched him all the way down the bottom.
Oh, caution.
But got another incident behind.
Oh, William Swenson. And is that Bruno Miranda upside down. If he can get on his wheels. Oh, these cars, I don't know why, but they have the pogo stick, and he's not going to get back on his wheels. We'll see if maybe William's going to try to do him a solid. Nope, has to take a tow. That's our top. Actually, I mean, think about this right now. Our top 3. Let's go back and see what happened first, but that's our top 3 that have all had issues tonight. Craig Forsyth, Bruno Miranda, and then Christopher. So we're going to focus initially here on Bruno, see if we can find what happened in front of him.
Yeah, we're on cold tires on the restart here, and Swenson's starting to ride up the track a little bit, but I do see the back of the car starting to slide a little bit, so I think his weight tracker settings may have been a touch off, and Bruno was
just ramps him.
Was a passenger, and look at the air he gets. Holy.
Yeah, this is where our chat earlier was talking about these things looking like Concords, and so when you get airtime like that, that's definitely gonna to be accurate. So that's the heartbreaker for Bruno. Like I said, just not the luck. I mean, he had a great first half of the race, and it's gone downhill, unfortunately, and now having to take a tow as well, so he's gonna even fall further back. And here we go. The two of the 3 that stayed out, Jim Herrick, Dan Morera, they come into pit road. So they decided, you know what, we got to top off here. And this is a strategy, though, because if they feel like, hey, we're kind of trending yellow, this could be enough where, hey, we can make it if we get another yellow or 2 and make it to the end. So that's going to be intriguing to see. Yari's in, Eric Peterson, is in, as well as Joseph DeSera. So we got a handful of drivers taking advantage of it. Nick DeGroot stays out. But I'm going to go to our point standings because, again, we're talking about our top 5 in points. Christopher, unfortunately, he's going to finish 23rd and last. As you see, the 66 here of Elmer Joseph actually getting his lap back. So great opportunity for the 66 car. Bruno Miranda, we just saw what happened to him. He was 2nd in points. Craig Forsyth in 3rd position. He had some damage earlier, had to unscheduled, I should say, pit stop. He's worked his way back up to 9th, so there is a recovery drive being done by Craig at the moment. You mentioned Eric Schaus having some contact, so it hasn't been clean sailing for him in 4th in points. And then rounding out our top 5, Nick DeGroot has so far, knock on wood, had a pretty decent race going for him. So really, but the top 3, again, it was a 14-point lead for Chris over Bruno, and then a 26-point lead from Chris to Craig, or another 12 points between Bruno and Craig. So, I mean, that's going to kind of all collapse because Chris, where he's finishing, is going to this will probably be his drop week race. And then Bruno's going to now he's down in 19th, and this has to be a fake, right?
I don't know. I think we're doing a top-off situation. This is unlike anything that I would have predicted.
But you top? I thought, if I remembered right, I thought if you don't pit the first time, pit road closes the second time around. We might see a few penalties here.
The pit road closes once the pace car crosses start finish, and if you're the leader, you can get into the pit lane before the start finish. It's definitely one of those uncertain situations. There's a couple of different tracks where you can get away with it. Michigan's one of them just because of how far down the straightaway they are. But yeah, you were right in saying that you were a little uncertain of what's going to happen here. But Michigan is definitely a track. Any of these tracks at the start finish line is farther down the straightaway. The pit lane doesn't necessarily close right away. So these guys just want to, I guess, get every teaspoon of fuel they can.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And so what will happen, though, is I believe, well, actually, I'm kind of checking to see where everybody cycles through, because I'm still showing Nick DeGroot being ahead of some of those guys, like the ones that pitted a little bit ago. I'm trying to find them on our timing screen. Oh, there they go. I was trying to figure out, I was like, pretty sure Jim Herrick and Dan Murray should be ahead of some of these guys. So unless they didn't catch up quick enough, they were saving that whole time. So this could have been a brilliant move by Nick DeGroot, hitting a lap later and still restarting ahead of Jim Herrick, Dan Marrera. So this is, we'll see how this shakes. Actually, it looks like they put the lights back on to, I think, try to get the order straightened out here. I think they're trying to get things figured out. So watch now. I think we're going to see more people maybe take advantage, maybe jump back in again, potentially.
Oh, you don't think that the fix is in here where we're trying to get, like race control, quote unquote, is trying to reorder the grid so that everybody can fuel save? As race fans, we all say stuff like this all the time. There's never any sort of extensions of the yellow flag until it becomes a fuel save race. And then next thing we know, everyone's saving fuel.
And yeah, so Bill Colley, Elmer Joseph, they're going to top off here. So they're going to take advantage. And I mean, why not? And yeah, I'm guessing the running order was a little bit askew, so they're trying to get everything squared away. And this is a tough spot to be for the admins. I believe Matt Wagner, Craig Forsyth, kind of the two main guys here. So you're trying to race, you're trying to focus, figure out your strategy, but then you're also trying to make sure that everything's going correctly for everybody else. So, but you're right though. I mean, it's one more lap under caution. We're going to now restart with 34 to go. I mean, we saw some pretty big fuel save numbers by Eric Schaus earlier. So, but again, though, I think just everything's going to be ramped up this much more that I kind of think we're going to have probably one more to the end.
Yeah, and like I said, let's talk about these guys that have come from the back of the field. Jim Herrick started 20th, up in the top 10. Adriano Fraporti started 21st, up in the top 5. Edson Santos started P12, up to second place right now. These guys have been patient. They probably dealt with a lot of 3 wides and all sorts of crazy stuff. So let's see what happens in this last stint here and see if they can hang on.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. Again, everybody's going to start to get a little antsier here on these restarts. They want to try to get everything they can. So we'll watch further down the field here as Matt Wagner is our control car, and he is down and away. We'll scroll through the back here, make sure.
Yari got a little checked up, but all good.
Saying Yari did what I would do as well. If you have that checkup, what you do is you kind of pull out a line to try to make sure that you have somewhere to go, and that was what Yari had to do. But now, like I said, there's other fights going on where Bruno Miranda, for instance, he's 2 laps down. There's a car 1 lap down in William Swenson, so he's technically, basically, he's got to try to unlap himself to have a chance to get back into this race. So Bruno's going to probably be on the offensive here. And one thing we didn't mention, we got cold tires, full field here. These guys got to be careful as they go through the field one more time.
Yeah, it looks like everyone kind of got through. Brad Adams back in P13. He got a little bit checked up, but no real issues there. I got to say, Gael, Matt Wagner is leading. He wants nothing other than to be the leader. He's not going to save any fuel. He's going to go for it and hope that there's another caution to shake things up here.
Yeah, so at this point, I think you kind of got what you got. Because again, in this series too, there's no green white checkered. So if there's a late yellow, that could be the end of the race. It's with Michigan being as big as it is, the caution laps are very short. So you can usually, if it's like 4 to go, you'll still get a restart. But you just don't know if and when those things will fly. So I'm gonna be intrigued to see who's gonna just kind of foot the floor and go for it. Who's maybe still thinking about fuel a little bit. Like I said, Nick DeGroot's obviously right now the highest up of those with the most fuel. Same with Gary Laverne right behind him. So those two have the option to try to get some aggression going, along with Jim Herrick as well, and hitting that one lap prior. So we've got some options here. But like I said, now it's going to be that much harder to pass because there's not as much give and a lot more attempts at take.
Yeah, Taylor Reeves is moving to the front too. He's doing the same Matt Wagner strategy, running the bottom line all the way around the track. He's actually touching the apron in turn 2, which is crazy to me because that's a huge danger zone there. But everyone's going to get checked up on the top line. You can watch him in turn 3 and 4, and he's going to attempt to pick up some spots, but Fraport, he steals that line from him.
Yeah, he catches that dirty air, so he's going to wash up a little bit. However, the nice part is he steals it up. There goes Laporte saying, again, you see how aggressive he had to jump in the draft, because if he didn't, there was going to be a car to fill that gap immediately. So, but yeah, right now everybody's, like you said, everybody's kind of migrating towards the top. You see now Eric Peterson, he's jumping to the bottom
here. He touched
the
apron, and that's going to mess up Jari Brubacher, and they're closing up big time on the back
contact.
Straight. Oh, yeah, we got Jim Herrick around there, I think. It's actually Dan Morera.
Yeah, caution out Dan Morera there.
Oh, and we have Bill Collier smacked the inside wall on the entrance to turn 3 as well.
Oh, yeah, that's a broken left front for Bill there. So, yeah, and kind of like we talked about, caution probably going to happen there just with everybody being aggressive. Then Dan's going to, that poor car. He's trying his best to get that thing back. But let's see. Like you said, it looked like it was just kind of a bit of a stack up. And
I think Pearson touched that apron and exited turn 1 into turn 2, and he had to lift, and that just, everyone was going to be pushing up to the top of the track anyway. Bruno put himself in a spot, and unfortunately it just, too many cars trying to fit in a straight line on the back straightaway.
Yeah, so while Michigan's plenty wide, 4 wide's still a bit of a challenge. And so yeah, you see the yellow and orange, or a little bit of a stack up. Actually, a little bit of wall contact as well. So for, I think it was Jim Herrick there up top. And yeah, just it was nothing intentional, just they both going for the same real estate, a little bit of net code as well, and then unfortunately just nothing that he could do. And then you mentioned Bill Collier trying to get it avoided, because he's just, which way do you go? And that thing just steps out on him when he makes that sharp left and just can't get it back out from underneath him. And you can see, and there's that four-wheel drift like we talked about, and just, big hit to the inside wall for Bill, unfortunately. So brings our caution back out here. Strategy-wise, doesn't look like a lot of pit strategy. Edson Santos decided, you know what, I'm going to hop in Jari Brubacher as well. Bill Collier makes sense with his damage. He has no real choice. Everybody else is staying out, so they're committing, I think, to the fuel now to the end here. Trying to think, do we think anybody will spill the beans on their fuel strategies? You see the 69 of William Swenson. He's going to get his lap back, which will put now 18 cars on the lead lap, which now leaves Bruno as the only car 2 down. So he would be the next recipient for the Lucky Dogs, but we'll have to kind of keep an eye on him there. Trying to think, who do we think there's anybody who would be willing to tell us the truth about the fuel if we can harass them, or should we let them be? Yeah, I think we'll let him be. But look at Matt here. He's on the apron. He's rolling in 4th gear, trying to save every drop of fuel he can. Eric Schaus probably, same thing. He's in 6th gear trying to save every drop of fuel. So these guys, they know what's going on. They're working the field numbers here, just trying to make it to the end. So they're probably close. I mean, that's kind of the answer there. Now Taylor Reeves is the furthest up of those that did pit at lap number 64. Yes, this is going to be intriguing to see what the fuel mileage is going to be with these guys, because we're going to restart this thing. White one to go here, so we'll restart with 26 to go, just outside quarter distance.
Yeah, you were trying to stalk some of these guys' fuel numbers. Unfortunately, iRacing isn't lucky enough to produce this kind of stuff with us. So apologies, I had to step away for a moment. But
oh no, you're good.
So yeah, I was listening the whole time here. I think now we're just gonna. Did everybody top off from what you saw?
No, actually, pretty much the only pitters were Edson Santos, Yari Brupacher, Bill Colley. Everybody else, I think, is just going to commit to what they're going for. I also try to look at the cockpit view, and it was a very scary tunnel vision view, so I won't do that again.
Yes.
But yeah, so no, I'd say Matt's been cruising around in 4th gear. Eric Shaw's been cruising around 6th gear. No doubt they're both running map 8 right now. But I think these guys are all pretty much just committing to saying, you know what? If we run out, we run out, but we're going to bank on either making it as it sits or banking on a potential yellow to help our fuel mileage even more. So it's just, I think it's all out brawl time now, and everybody's going to try to get everything they can. So, and like I mentioned as well, we do have back to 17 cars on the lead lap here. William Swenson getting back on that last yellow. So now Bruno's the only car a lap or more down with 2 down. He and Dan Morera.
Let me quickly mention here that we went green last time with 35 laps to go. So these guys staying out might put them closer in a window to push a tiny bit more, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, your bed's made at this point. I think that's kind of the strategy here. So for those that topped off, they're hoping, hey, we want this to go green to the end. We can go full rich. We don't even have to worry about saving. Some of these guys, like I said, just depends on where they are on track. Do they need to save, or do they do enough work early on? So we'll be able to tell pretty quickly how aggressive they are, and kind of what kind of drafting we see.
Nick DeGroot's making his way back up from the bottom of the top 10, already up to P8. He's gonna have a head of steam coming into turn 3 here. Got to find some sort of clean air though, and unfortunately he got a little bit dirtier, and Gary Lovern coming right up behind him to try and see if he gets. Gary Lovern having a really nice night tonight, just been in the top 10. Little moment for 40 there.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what happened there for Porty, but yeah, that thing stepped down. I'm not sure if maybe a little bit of contact or net code or what, but somehow hung on to that car. So first off, great job by him. Here comes Nick DeGroot. He's going to peek to the inside.
Big fuel save going on right now in the top. I could see that the way that they all stacked up into turn 3, that is 100% a fuel save situation. So Craig is saving, Jim Herrick is saving, Alan Morera is saving. These guys are all going to do something now. And now even Matt Wagner up front, I could tell he is kind of driving down the middle of the track, trying to find a way to hold on to the lead, but also save fuel at the same time. So that's going to upset the mid part of the top 10 here.
Yeah, that's where things get a little wild there when that happens. So, but yeah, like I mean, but that's going to open. But watch Nick DeGroot. He's got the most fuel. So he said, "All right, you guys do your fuel save. I'm going here. I can make it." Or he feels like he can make. Oh, close there between Taylor Reeves, Craig Forsyth, and Taylor's in the same boat. They both pitted 5 laps after Matt Wagner and company. So they've got a little bit in the bank to these guys. So I think these guys have said, you know what, we're just going to let it fly.
Yeah, as I mentioned right before the green flag there, we got some fuel save situations. We got guys that topped off. These guys, based on what we saw from some of these earlier super speedway races, they may not be used to running next to each other. So I'm hoping that these guys can sort it out and figure out what position they want to be in for later on in the race. But you know, some of these guys that don't usually run up front don't necessarily know what the behavior is of other cars around that are on a fuel save. So there's a lot of scrapping around going right now entering turn 1.
Yeah, so here's my question. If you're let's say Nick DeGroot, Taylor Reeves, they say, you know what, we know we can make it to the end. Do you consider working together to try to bump the pace up of the race to make the Matt Wagners and Eric Schauses have to work harder to burn more fuel to maybe put them at risk of not being able to make it? Or I mean, how do you treat this?
Yeah, I really honestly couldn't tell you. It depends on how the driver is. Yes, if you put the DeGroot or Reeves out front, they're going to run full burn, full everything, and try and pull the field along with them. But all that's doing is helping Matt Wagner's and those other guys out there. So it's you got to play chess for the next 18, 19 laps or so and play the game, put yourself in a safe spot. There's no real good answer there.
Yeah, so that's what I wasn't sure. Like, if they stayed single file, yeah, obviously the pace is going to slow, and then Matt and Eric and all them can kind of set their fuel map to whatever to run the fuel numbers. I was thinking, yeah, if they kind of do that leapfrog draft that we always talk about, that maybe it increases the pace of the race enough where it forces everybody to have to turn the wick up a little bit. Let's say they're running map 5, now they have to run map 3 to stay in the draft or something along those lines. Oh, we got one spin.
There's
Oh, caution is out. Oh, couldn't quite get it slowed down in time before he made the contact with the wall. And that is going to bring out the yellow. He's going to loop this thing back around. He might be able to get away with just getting a rear wing put on this thing. I think it adds about 10 seconds to the stop, so hopefully that puts him back in the mix there. But as long as Bruno wasn't involved, I believe he was ahead of Dan, which would be great for him.
I was just about to say that, like I mentioned a couple laps ago, some of these guys are really like pushing up the track and everything like that. And once you have a mix of guys that are trying to fuel save and go for it, any situation like that, you have to be on full, or your head's got to be on a complete swivel everywhere, because a contact or a spin or anything can happen at any point.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was a stack up where there's a stack up in front of him. Fraporti checked up, and then unfortunately he got tagged from behind. Nothing he did wrong, just kind of that accordion effect found its way to him, and so that's what got him into the inside wall there. So that's a tough pill to swallow when you know you did everything right, but unfortunately still wound up facing the wrong way. So we'll see. This will be the telltale. I think I expect to see DeGroot and Reeves stay out. Tires could play a role in this one. I think if you're mid pack, you come in, and that's going to be Matt Wagner's sense. So yeah, we got split strategies here. Wagner, Schaus, what was that? Forsyth, Peterson, Brubacher. So about 6 or so stay out, and Nick DeGroot and company going to go in. DeGroot and company going to stay out. I think we should see Bruno get one of his 2 back now. Yep, there goes Bruno. Again, he still needs one more here to salvage some really good points for that our defending champion. So 6 cars here are going to be staying out. They feel like they got the fuel now to the end. I know Edson Santos is good. He pitted at lap 72. He's fine. He can make it to the end no matter what. These other guys that stayed out, though, lap 64 for the top 2, 59 for Alan Morera, 64 for Gary Laverne. So Jim Herrick lap 63. So of the front runners, I like where Edson is the best on fuel. But now Matt Wagner is going to restart in 7th. And, I mean, you know how fast you can suck back up with these cars and get right into the mix. And will tires matter? It's still 119-degree track temp.
I'm kind of scratching my head at some of these guys. So yeah, I don't like it, but I don't dislike it necessarily.
Yeah, I'm torn. I feel like for Matt Wagner, he goes from, I think it was 2nd to 7th. I'm okay with that because now he knows he's safe on fuel to the end. He probably put just enough in. He's got fresher tires. Honestly, we had some caution laps, but probably about at least 10 lap green flag fresher tires. So, I mean, it could make a difference.
Yeah, it's just definitely one of those things where it's a risk. There could be more cautions. You can get your way back up front, little bits and scrapes at a time. But I'm trying to figure out how you win on this.
That's gonna be the question. We'll see who we get to talk to in the top 3, and we'll see what they feel like is the right one. So it's gonna be fun to see. so we're going to get back to it here with 16 to go at the line. It's going to be now Nick DeGroot, Taylor Reeves, Alan Morera, Edson Santos, and Gary Laverne, our top 5. I think Craig Forsyth might be having some connectivity issues in the 99, so we'll have to keep an eye on him because that's always scary on a restart. So we'll watch here. We'll go back to our good old starter camera, get a good view there, and I think I think you see some of these guys. Oh, really bit of a checkup start there for a couple of drivers, but looks like everybody is down and away. All right, so we are back underway here. 16 to go. Nick DeGroot, our leader, and we'll see. And it's a very spread out restart. I think Nick caught a couple of these guys sleeping.
Yeah, that's such a Nick DeGroot thing to happen there. Some of these guys that are a touch more inexperienced may not have the gall to have the run going there, but Nick DeGroot does what he does best on these big super speedways.
Yeah, he's a bit of a monster, and this is where, yeah, I was saying that's exactly what I was going to say. If he and Taylor Reeves can try to work together, make life harder for those behind trying to catch, and it's going to even be more difficult. Unfortunately, Alan Morera looks like he's got a connection issue now. I wonder if there might be some server issues going on, because Alan was third, and now I'm not even seeing him on the timing and scoring, and hopefully he'll pop back up, but then you also are going to fear where does he show back up. So that's going to promote, at the moment, Edson Santos up into third. And yeah, if Alan doesn't come back in, that's a heartbreaker for Alan, because he was doing a great job here tonight. So we'll kind of wait and see if he pops back in. Matt Wagner's on pit road.
I believe Matt got himself a passing under yellow penalty when he was entering the pits, unfortunately.
Oh, that late jumped into pit road. Yeah, maybe that, or maybe if he maybe passed somebody on the inside going back to green potentially as well.
I have to say, Gael, I'm still very impressed by Gary Lover in P4 right now. He's usually kind of a mid-pack guy in this series, but this is an opportunity for him to kind of follow the leaders, learn, and do what everyone else at the front does, and look where it's got him. It's got him into a P4, staying out of trouble, racing with the big dogs, the fuel savers, the going for it, if I can coin that term as something. But he's put himself in a spot right now where he's racing with guys in the series that have multiple wins and a lot of experience here. So expect him to get maybe a top 5 here if he can hang on to it.
Yeah, look at Edson Santos now. He's going to take the point here through 3 and 4. And again, Edson's one that is the best on fuel of these guys, pitted at lap 72. He was one of those ones that pitted when nobody else did, and then the next time around, a bunch of guys came in, got him some more track position. But oh, look at Taylor Reeves. He gave maybe a car width. Taylor said, I'll take that car width and I will use it.
Craig Forsyth, Eric Peterson really going after it in turn 2. Craig does not want to lose the draft, but these guys are quickly losing the draft to that top 5. They have 11 laps to pick up back up again, but they've put themselves in a spot right now where they're a little bit far back, and Craig wants to lead, Eric wants to lead, and it's just going to cause problems for the next couple laps if they can't sort it out.
Yeah, you got to get situated, figure it out. Hey, let's figure it out. Let's work together. Let's get back up there. And I think they're getting there now. Peterson leading that group. But man, it was close. I think there's a little bit of tire touching between Taylor Reeves and Edson Santos. They are dicing it up right now. And so right now, really, the top 10 are all still within a really short distance. Adriano Fraporti's falling back just a little bit. But, man, it's anybody's guess right now. And we're coming down to it here. 10 to go at the line. We'll see who's got the right moves at the right time. And again, no green white checkers here, so you got to make the right move at the right time. You never know when if and when a caution will come out, or just, yeah, how it's going to shake out here. So right now, Nick DeGroot's got himself back to the point.
Yeah, I really hate to be a wet blanket here, but Nick DeGroot's the guy this race. This is his style. He's won many races this way. He's racing with guys that don't necessarily run up front. I don't think any of the guys he's running around have a win in this series yet, so he's going to play footsie a little bit, for lack of a better term, for now. But unless you get Craig Forsyth or someone else up here to mess with him, he's going to play around with these guys, and he's going to play them like a fiddle to win this race.
I mean, we've seen the sneaky moves that he can do. We saw it at Pocono when he was able to break the draft coming to the start-finish line. Yeah, he's got little tricks up his sleeves that you don't think he has, but I don't know. I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of Edson right now in that 20 car. And I mean, Taylor's got no shortage of aggression. He will try no matter what to find a way to try to win this race. So I mean, obviously, big risk there taking the top 3, but look who's coming up here. I mean, here comes the 40 Jim Herrick. He's rolling right back into the mix there. He's brought Eric Peterson. He's brought Yari Brewpacher. Craig Forsyth's right back in the mix. So it's Eric Schaus is just outside that window too. So it's anybody's guess right now for where it's going to come from and who's going to be able to try to make it happen here. But like I said, I want them to run this all the way out because this is a great fight up front here.
Yari is running a great line on the bottom. He's hanging on to it. He's getting by the guys he needs to. He's not carrying the exit speed that he wants. Obviously. Oh, his contact.
Oh, big wreck in the back there. I think I saw Craig. Yeah, Craig is barrel. Oh, my goodness. Craig's going up and over here. We got 4 cars involved, and the heartbreak. Gary Laverne caught up in this one as well. Brad Adams still trying to see. Maybe he'll bounce on his wheels. No such luck. And then I think it may have also been, no, not Bill Colley. Trying to see who the other, oh, Dan Marrera, I think. Just as we're saying, we will still have a restart here. We'll still have some more racing to go, but it was such good racing that we saw there. But let's go back. We'll take a look. So it was right around, I think, well, I mean, we saw Gary Laverne in it, so we'll focus on him because I know he was involved. So we're focusing on this green car right in front of Eric Peterson, I believe that is. So we'll watch as they head into one. Oh, just contact between he and Eric Peterson going for the same real estate there. And Craig, just nothing he can do. Dan Marrera, nothing he can do. And then
Brad Adams.
Oh, yeah, they're right. And there's Brad Adams, nothing he can do. And that's a heartbreaker. I say all these guys, and yeah, look at Craig. He's just barrel rolling. We got one doing the skateboard grind. We got one flipping wildly. I mean, you get to the end of these races, everybody's all bunched up, but that's not what you wanted to see there. That hurts.
Yeah, I mean, Gary Laverne made it all the way back to the pits, and I think he has a fast repair, so it'll be very close. I don't think he's going to make it actually, but he may get waved around. It's very close. I think he's actually going to beat the pace car out, so he may stay on the lead lap and just be at the back. Which
he may have sped a little bit to make sure he got it. We'll see, but if so, I mean, it's still worth it. And then also
you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Look at who's back on the lead lap after that pit road penalty or whatever the penalty was he had under green, brings Matt Wagner right back into this as well. So, and I believe, waiting to double check here. No, okay, I was trying to double check for Bruno Miranda. I think Bruno still trapped one down. Waiting for my timing.
Matt Wagner would have gotten the lucky dog there.
Yeah, Matt did get. Oh, yeah, so that's tough for Bruno there as well. And then
it was Bruno up until that point.
Yeah, so Bruno's gonna be mad at Matt for stealing his. And yeah, so here's Gary. He's chasing back up to the field here. So yeah, I think. All right, so now we're gonna restart this thing with 3 to go. We've still got. It looks like 13 cars will be on the lead lap for a chance to win this race here. And remember, we're talking about the championship contenders. I mean, so we know Chris, unfortunately, will be 23rd. Bruno Miranda still sitting trapped a lap down in 14th. Craig Forsyth now caught up in that one. He's sitting in 15th. So that now puts Eric Schaus in a decent spot in 7th. Although, you know, he'd like to be up higher in the running order too. So. And then Nick DeGroot leading currently. So right now, Nick DeGroot looking to gain the most. And that said, though, I'm still hurting for Alan Marrera falling out while he's sitting in the top 3 towards the end of that race. That's just not fair. I feel bad. He had such a good run going tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I feel for Gary Laverne too, but he's managed to somehow stay on the lead lap. So maybe he'll pick up a few spots for these last 3 laps here. But I mean, Dan Marrera too. Like, what can we say about him? Every race so far this season has just been like an unlucky streak for him. He can't seem to get any sort of luck whatsoever, and I feel bad for him because he is a top 5 guy in this league no matter what. He'll bounce back, and
that's
I'm sure he'll go forward.
And that's what the really good drivers do is they kind of shake these ones and just like, all right, regroup, go to the next one, kind of just forget about that last race and get back after it. So.
Yeah, I was talking to him at the start of practice. I was talking to some of the 4D guys, and I was mentioning, Dan, you got to get me a good finish today, man. Like this season has just not been Dan Barrera at all. And you have to say race after race after race when these things happen, like how do you take it? But he's back every week, and I'm sure it's going to pay off eventually, and he's going to get himself some really good finishes soon.
Oh yeah, no, it's one of those things. You right place, right time, a little bit of luck, and yeah, I'd say it's definitely not for lack of talent. So, all right, this will be our final restart, I believe, though here, Andrew. So now the question is, once again, we'll jump back to our starter. Everybody's gonna be a little answer. Look at Nick; he
very
is
early.
Gone. Yep. And this
is
could
what
be.
We were saying.
I don't know. Could this be good or could it be bad? Because they're gonna get a huge draft off of him here. We'll see what Edson can do. And again, now for behind Nick, and you know what? Let's actually watch off the back wing of Nick DeGroot here, because Edson's going to get a huge draft, but can he get enough to get alongside Leah? Nick's already going to protect the bottom, but that's what I was worried about. Taylor and Edson are going to now be busy fighting each other. That's going to let Nick have a little bit of breathing room here as they're going to come around here to 2 to go.
Yeah, these Super Speedway races, you have to predict that there's a chance that the race could just be flagged right away. You don't want to be the one to stack up the restart to cause it, but you also want to get the run you can. So let them catch up to you. You can find your way to mitigate through any sort of drafting in turn 3 and then hold on to the lead from there. So I totally agree with what Nick's done here. So got about a lap and a half to go.
I say nice. Edson, he gets the outside of Nick, but again, not enough to clear him. So really what Edson's got to do, I mean, he can put a lot of trust in Nick DeGroot, but what he's going to need to do is he's going to have to squeeze Nick as much as he possibly can. But here we go. We're on to it now. White flag is out for the final time. We'll see who could it be right now. We have 4 cars in this front pack jockeying for the win. Eric Peterson sneaking in the mix there as well. Will it be that bottom line, the middle line, the outside line? We'll see as they come through the backstretch.
Nick DeGroot did the right line through turn 1, but he lost a little bit going onto the back straight, so he's going to have to really push it in turn 3. But I think Edson's going to have a nice little run to the line. We'll see what happens.
He gets a good run out. He's going to try to steal some draft. It's going to be a drag race to the finish, and Nick DeGroot's going to get it by half a car over Edson Santos. Eric Peterson going to bring it home in 3rd. Jari Brupacher brings home a 4th place finish. And Adriano Fraporti somehow, we talked about his difficulties towards the end. He recovers for a top 5. The name that we're not seeing in there that was there is, I think, caught up in a wreck at the end there, Taylor Reeves. Let's go back and we'll watch the run to the checkered.
That was a weird incident he had coming to the line.
So we'll take a look at Taylor. It looks like a ton of dirty air possibly. And, well, I don't know. He cuts back low. And so you're watching, you see Jim Herrick trying to give room, and I think both drivers going for the same real estate there. Look at Jari, just cut straight left to sneak by the two of them. They kind of just got stuck together, unfortunately, and just racing toward the checker there, unfortunately, and they both stay stuck together to the finish line. So while we saw that, let's jump back live because I have a feeling there's a certain driver who's pretty good at celebrating here, and there he goes. So we will watch him celebrate. Let's go ahead and we'll show on the ticker. Oh, he did a little bit too much celebrating. I see some end caps missing on that front wing, but that's all right. Let's pull up our final results first off here. So I'll kick it off with our top 5 results, and it will be Nick DeGroot by 0.02 of a second over Edson Santos. Eric Peterson there sitting in 3rd. Jari Brupacher and Adriano Fraporti, rounding out our top 5.
Yeah, I have to say, like, some of these guys that come from the back, like Fraporti, I was watching Fraporti from the start. I could not believe he was starting that far back based on his experience in racing these big ovals. So good job for him climbing the most, 16 spots tonight. Jim Herrick climbing from 20th to P7. And, we were mentioning Edson Santos as well that started outside top 10, and he managed to find himself a way to get into the podium position.
Yeah, it was a great job by him. Then 6th through 10th, you got Eric Schaus, Jim Herrick, Taylor Reeves, Elmer Joseph, William Swenson there. And then just outside the top 10 there, Bill Colley and Gary Laverne. I'd say, again, heartbreaker for Gary, was in a great spot all race long. And then you see Bruno Miranda there. Couldn't get his lap back. He finishes in 13th. Matt Wagner showing 3 laps down in 14th. Not sure what happened with Matt at the very end, unfortunately, but he got his lap back and then something got caught up and someone missed that, unfortunately. Brad Adams, Craig Forsyth, not the night he or Dan Moreira are looking for in 16th, 17th. Joseph DeCiro sitting in the 18th position. And then finishing off our running order, Alan Moreira there in 19th, Andrew McMurray 20th. And Michael Carrillo, Richard Sanchez, and Chris Stouffer, unfortunately, early retirements from tonight's event. So with that, we got to chat with some fellas, and we're going to kick it off with Mr. Eric Peterson here. So once we got to focus on that good-looking car. Then we're going to drag Eric on over here. And I say it was fun as I got to chat with Eric a fair bit pre-race and get to do a little extra chatting here tonight, Eric. And it was a wild one here tonight. I mean, it seemed like you could move around, you could be where you wanted to be. What was the turning point, I feel like, in your race? Because obviously towards the end there was kind of the indecision. When do you pit? When do you think you're good to go to the end? Like, how are you balancing kind of the strategy of when to make that final call to hop on the pit road here?
Well, the tires were paramount. I mean, if you had newer tires, you could really for the first few laps, and then they kind of equaled out. But I was good to go on that last yellow, and then I came in with 2 laps to go before the green, and then I think some other like Schaus and Wagner they dropped into the pits with 1 to go. And then we got stuck on the front straight, and then I got shuffled back. So at that point, I was just all go, try to get to the front as fast as I possibly could. And then I have to apologize to, I think it was Gary Laverne. I just misjudged the corner just a hair going into one and caused that last caution. That was just terrible on my part, but all I could do is apologize, I guess. So, but it was a good race. Fuel mileage was pretty easy to hit with those yellows thrown in there. So.
All right, Eric, I'll let you off the hook a little bit because the lap before that, Nick DeGroot also touched the apron, but somehow did not wash up the track. So I was in complete shock when he didn't do it. But then the next lap, you were trying to defend that low line, and you touched that, unfortunately touched that line, and kind of made me believe that yellow apron line still exists there. So
yeah, it does. Yeah, I got a little squirrely coming off of 2 there, and then boy, I tell you what, it was handling really good down there. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I have to say, like, you handled that particular incident quite well. But I feel like this whole race you were just kind of hanging out in the middle to bottom part of the top 10 and maybe just kind of examining all the drivers around you and everything.
Yeah,
especially the, like, so I was gonna say, like, right before that final caution, it looked like a lot of guys, it was like half the top 10 was trying to save fuel, half the top 10 was trying to push, and there was a lot of guys that were pushing up the track and everything like that. So did you feel like you were just trying to fit in? Like, where was your exact move where you feel like you were going to go forward?
Yeah, my happy space was in that 5th to 6th and just kind of hanging back and just making sure I could hit the fuel number. And then once I knew I had the fuel number, then it was game on moving forward. And then, like I said, off that 1 yellow, we got stuck on the front straight. And then after that, I came into the pits, or I'd pit the lap before with 2 to go. And then like I said, Wagner, Schaus, they all went in. We got stuck on the front straight behind a slow car, and I'm not sure if they just didn't catch up. But then all those cars that had pitted in front, and then I was all go after that. But yeah, I kind of fit into that, like you said, the bottom half of the top 10, and was just kind of riding it out. And then, letting kind of tires wear, just kind of trying to run that high line and just not really defend. But, if somebody really wanted to go to the front, I wasn't going to hurt my feelings if they were getting up there and running, and I'll take care of it at the end, which unfortunately I shouldn't say unfortunately, I did get to the front, but I got to the front and I ran into somebody on the way up there, which I didn't mean to do. So.
Did you feel like you were comfortable in that spot as that whole situation was going on? Did you feel like anyone was going to try and, like, really push it and push up into you and maybe ruin your race?
Yeah, there were some close calls. But you trust everyone around you. The drivers here are so good. I got close, where you're just thinking in the back of your mind that there's no way that car is going to hold down there. And then you remember it's Craig or it's Bruno or it's, somebody that you can trust and hang on to that outside line. And I'm sure there were some close calls. But from the cockpit there, it's hard to tell how close we came, but I'm sure they were very, very close when we're coming off of 2 there. That would seem to be the best passing place was going into 1. So, down low and then drifting up.
No, it was yeah. I mean, it was some really exciting racing. It was a great job tonight, Eric, to get that podium tonight. So I'll say definitely got to give you the floor though, and I want to give you your time for any thanks and shouts for that podium here this evening.
Yeah, a lot of help from Schaus and Wagner in our channel tonight. Just strategies and saving fuel and stuff, and just shout out to everybody out there watching. Appreciate it. Hopefully, we get some viewership up and get going. But it's a fun field, great class, and especially to all the drivers here. We got a great group of guys that race clean, and it's a lot of fun. So, and appreciate you guys too for putting this on. Can't wait to watch the broadcast when we get done here.
All right, great job, Eric. Congrats, man. We'll get you over to your guys.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Eric.
All right, and as I was worried we weren't going to be able to find him, but he found his way over here. So we got to grab also now our runner-up, and that is going to be Edson Santos. So let's grab Edson on over here because 10 spots gained from 12th to 2nd. And man, I liked your fuel strategy there at the end, Edson, because you pitted kind of in the middle of when the first group did and then when the last group did. You kind of were about 10 laps in between the two of them. Did you feel like that was like the magic window for pit stops, or what was your strategy there at the end for the fuel and also just take us through the race?
Hello guys. Good night. Nice to be here. So I was not expecting this podium, my first top 3 in this league. Actually, I don't like back race. I don't usually have luck in this kind of race, but today I tried to stay alive in the beginning, always in the top 5, top 7. In the beginning, I was worried about to saving fuel, but then with a lot of yellow flags, I was trying to be more aggressive. And Nick, in the end, defended his inside line very well in those last 2-3 laps. So it was very exciting. And so in the median, the medium line was not good because my tire was not good to compete in that moment. So, but I am happy to be here. He won with merit, so I'm trying to improve this championship because in Pocono I didn't have luck, and last week I was not here do a traveling. And so I would like to send a warm hug for all my teammates here in Brazil from Linear Energy Racing.
Yeah, Edson, let me ask you. Your qualifying was P12. Were you worried being kind of mid-pack there? Did you, especially because you say that the pack race is not really your favorite? Did you worry that you may go backwards or not have an opportunity to climb? How did you feel?
Yeah, I was pretty concerned about this in the last in the first 5-6 laps, because there was a lot of contact in the beginning, but I was trying to be more conservative in the beginning, and then I believe the guys got their space because I guess a lot of them was trying to save fuel, and so just in the end of the race I could be more aggressive to get something, in this case the SP2.
Edson, I have to say the paint job on that car is spectacular. I like the stripes and everything down the back. You can easily pick your car out from a group there. So good job on that.
Nice. That's from my team, my Linear Energy. So it's nice. I agree.
Yeah, no, it's a really good looking scheme, and say at the end there you had Leandro Silva was cheering you on YouTube as well. So, I say you had some
My
people
teammate,
watching.
yeah, my teammate. Warm hug for him.
That's awesome. But no, again, just great job, like you said. I mean, for not feeling super great about pack racing. I mean, yeah, you did an amazing job tonight. You were in contention all race long. So definitely don't sell yourself short. Definitely look forward to seeing more of you through the season. Like I said, get back up there in the points, go for that championship for sure. So before we let you go and celebrate, we definitely want to give you the floor if you have any other thanks and shout outs for the runner up tonight.
Oh, that's it. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next week.
All right, congrats, Edson. Great job tonight.
Yeah, you too. You too, all from broadcasting.
All right. Well, this last fella, I feel like he's got some practice doing these interviews, and looks like got some practice doing some burnouts too. And well, actually, looks like grass donuts first, but we'll see where that front wing goes away here in a little bit, so we can embarrass him on the spot. And so your car owner may not be too happy about getting those tires off the ground there during that slide there, Nick. But man, I don't know. Andrew was saying I think Nick's got him right where he wants him. I say he's played this game before. I was like, there goes the nose. It's like he's got him right where they want him, and it was tight. I mean, we saw Edson a few times edging just a little bit ahead of you in the backstretch. We saw it at points also. It was Taylor Reeves is working that third lane. Were you watching anything, maybe trying to get them to fight each other to make life easier for you, or were you just saying, I'm just living on this white line and making sure nobody goes underneath me there?
Yeah, in a different race, I actually probably would have just tried to swap with the guy in second until the end. But with how many cautions there were, I'm like, I'm not taking that risk. I'm holding this lead for as long as I can, as much as I can. And holding the bottom was extremely hard in turn 3 and 4, especially on those very old tires. And I think you guys saw there on the penultimate lap, I really pushed up there. And that was just too wide. And then on the last lap, we're going down the backstretch and we're 3 wide. I'm like, okay. I even had a thought cross my mind, like, should I just lift entering the corner because I'm not going to make it? I'm like, no, get as high as you can, crank up the weight jacker, and pray. And thankfully, it worked out for us there. But man, I was worried Edson when he tucked him behind me out of turn 4. I'm like, he's going to get a big run, so I had to do the unnatural thing and let him get next to me as soon as possible so that he wouldn't get a big draft and wouldn't have much momentum. Still ended up being pretty close there, 20 thousandths, but yeah, executed perfectly. Hell of a race too. Wreck on lap 1, win on lap 100.
Yeah, I'm thinking back like many seasons ago to the Henry Bennett, Nick DeGroot move there, going low in turn 1 and touching the apron, and then winding up losing out to him there in turn 3. So I saw shades of it happening again, especially because you had that bottom line there, and you touched the apron a little bit, and I was just hoping that you had learned your lesson from the previous season there, and it looked like you had the run into turn 3, but I didn't know if you had enough mid speed through turn 3 and 4 there. So did you feel like you may have lost it, like on the back straight there?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for reminding me about the Henry loss. I had tried to forget that, but
Yeah, I was there too.
Yeah. Definitely down the backstretch. I'm like, I don't like the position I'm in. I don't think this is a good position. And I think if Edson had pinned me down a little bit more, that would have been his race. Especially if Taylor was able to stay on the outside there. If we were 3 wide exiting turn 4, I'm definitely losing that race. But I was lucky enough to clear them and be able to really control my own destiny there, coming to the line. But yeah, I did not think I was in the advantageous position there halfway down the backstretch.
I think that's one of those areas where I was mentioning to Gael during the broadcast that you had the experience and you've been in that spot before, so you knew not to make that mistake again. So I
Yeah.
think that was the advantageous part of going on to the last lap there.
And it was so hard to pass. I'm not used to that at Michigan, just with how hot it was. The top side was so dominant. It was so difficult to make passes up through the pack. And on the same side, on the same coin, the tires were also important. So there'd be a caution. I'm like, I want tires. But we kept having so many yellows. It just got to the point where it's like, do you want to sacrifice this track position for fresh tires? Because I certainly don't want to have to go through that again. It was bad enough at the start, going back to 20th or wherever we were after the wreck and having to claw our way through the field. So I did not want to have to go through that again.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting seeing the preferred lines and where everybody was running, and yeah, it was definitely, you could see it was difficult to run that bottom lane at points, but some were making it work. Especially Andrew was noticing kind of, you see that stack up, and then from there they would go ahead, and that's where you would see people kind of move around a little bit and do what needed to happen. So it was really interesting to kind of see all the strategy going on throughout the race there, but. Yeah, it was a great fight there, and it's really tightened up the points as well, with us unfortunately some of the championship guys having a lot of troubles right off the bat. Of course, I mean, we're in race 4. There's still lots of racing to go, but we've actually got a 1 point gap between first and third. Stouffer still leads. You jump up to second, tied with Bruno Miranda, so you both sitting just 1 point out of the lead. Eric Schaus jumps up to 15 points out of the lead, so there's still plenty to play for. Obviously, you still have drop weeks to play and all that kind of stuff, so we'll let that do the math. But yeah, it was definitely some attrition tonight that definitely changed stuff up a little bit too.
Yeah, and I kind of put myself into a box missing the road course race last week because I used one of my mulligans. I got to be careful. When I had that wreck the first lap, I was like, I got to change the way I approach this. I can't take the same risk because one more incident and it's over. You're finishing 20th, and that with missing the race last week, it would not be good for us. But it's good to see how close the championship is. I think this is going to be an exciting one. There's a lot of really good guys here who are at the top of their game.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see. So before we let you go, we definitely always got to give you the floor here. So definitely want to give you any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that win here this evening, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Factory Back Motorsports, and sorry to Covey Moore for damaging the car there. I got a little too excited in the post-race celebration, but I hope it at least looked cool until I hit the wall, so there's at least that. But thank you to motorsport.com, Canvas Shoes, CoveyMoore.com, and everybody else who supports this effort. It's really cool to get a couple wins right off the bat here. There's been a lot of seasons where I've gone deeper into the season before I started getting wins. It took me longer to get my feet under me, but this time we're coming right out of the gate, and we're ready for it. So I'm excited for the next one, and I want to get this points lead. I don't like being the guy chasing points. I want to be the one trying to build a points lead. So we'll see what happens at race 5.
Well, congrats again, man. Go enjoy it, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you the rest of the way.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thanks, Nick.
All right, Andrew, that's a quarter of the way through the season here after Michigan tonight. Still got plenty of great racing coming up. We are off next week because not on Valentine's Day, but I'll say we want to make sure we don't get drivers in trouble with their significant others. So it also kind of helps end the season about the right time frame for kind of to make sure all the seasons ends for season 1 of 2024. So after the off week next week, we are back to a short oval, and that's going to be Phoenix Raceway. So that one's going to be very important. I think track position going to be king. A tough track to pass that. It can be done, but I think track position and pit strategy, I think that's going to be the name of the game there in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, I think Phoenix is one of those tracks where you want to qualify well. You want to stay up front as long as you possibly can. So it will be interesting to see what happens next week, next race, rather. And we'll see where these guys go from here. We got a lot of shakeup in the points, as you mentioned, and as Nick mentioned as well. So we'll see what happens for the rest of the season.
Yep, should be fun. So as always, Andrew, appreciate you coming in and sharing your knowledge with us. Like I said, you know way more about these than I could ever hope to. It's definitely been a privilege having you with me. And like I said, Boomer covering for me while I've been down and out. Really, really appreciate you guys doing an amazing job. I know you got some real life coming up soon as well, but just let us know when you're available. We'll definitely take you all day, any day. So really appreciate it. And of course, everybody watching that supports the league, supports your drivers, the series. Thank you all so much. It makes it so much fun to chime in and kind of chat with you all and have some fun. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's. We will be back on Thursday night for the Xfinity Series, and then I believe we'll have a week off, obviously off Sunday for the Super Bowl, and then like I said, we'll have a couple weeks or a couple nights off, I should say, for the Thanksgiving break on Tuesday and Thursday. So until Thursday, stay safe, take care, and have a good evening, and we'll see you all on Thursday. Have a good night.